translation of the Quran goes on against the essence of the book of Allah, because a human factor goes into it. I don't see how a person does not know Arabic yet can concentrate on the salah when he's making salah. Now we have generations and generations and not even thinking about learning the language of the Quran. Look at Taqiyuddin Hilali, probably the most popular translation of the Quran. You think it advertised for his Quran. He said it's a pity that many nations are only satisfied with the translation, meaning shame on them. They ought to be ashamed of themselves instead of learning the language of the Quran. And he says, if the translation of the meaning of the Quran is meant for the purpose of continuing, for continuing to learn as generations do today, then it's a real mischief doing and an evil action in against what Allah and His Messenger Muhammad ﷺ have ordered. And he took a lot of this actually, so this is not his words. A lot of this is taken from the books of Ibn Taymiyyah. He goes on to say, all the religious scholars unanimously agree that the Quran and Sunnah should be taught in the language of the Quran. Translations are mainly meant for those who are not embrace Islam and there are people getting into Islam. Then he mentions a story and this is an amazing story, of one of the shuyukh he met in Afghanistan. He met a sheikh called Umar Azbek, who's a Turkish man who fought the Russians back early in the century. And Umar Azbek became a very close friend of him. He's a sheikh and they're a sheikh, so he became very close. One time they were so close that Umar Azbek's wife, she said, Ya sheikh, my husband, Umar Azbek, doesn't talk to us except in Arabic. We don't understand Arabic. We want him to talk to us in Turkish. Why doesn't he talk to us in the language that we understand? He would only talk to us in Arabic. Could you please talk to him, even if merely for an hour a day, just talk to us in the Turkish language? Taqiyuddin Hilali said, I talked to Umar Azbek. I said, why don't you talk to your family in the Turkish language? So Umar Azbek said, when we were under the rule of Russia, anytime Russia annexed the country and took it, the first thing the Russian did was compelled us to learn their Russian language perfectly, by force. And we had to learn it. And unless they knew that learning the Russian language will make the person who learns it follow their ways of thinking, character, and tradition, they would not have forced anybody to learn it. He went on to say, I vowed to not talk to my family except in the language of the Quran and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. If they so agree, they can talk to me. If they don't, then I will have no use to talking to them. Subhanallah.